Hey everyone, it's Ron Milligan with Remax Select here, coming to you with the weekly market update. As you can see today, the weekly market update is coming from my house instead of my office, and that's simply because the heat pump at the office died, and it was a chilly 27 degrees when I woke up this morning, so the office is probably quite a little bit icy. So today, what we're going to be talking about are three main things. Number one is the homes that sold this last week and how they fared on the market. Number two is going to be a discussion of the supply and demand numbers and where those seem to be trending. And then number three, we'll talk about lockbox opens during this last week. So the first thing is the number of homes that sold. That was 387 homes. It's a pretty modest number. Part of the reason for that is these are sales that went under contract probably a week or two just before Christmas, which was a pretty sleepy time on our market this last year. Year before in 2020, it was a much busier time. There was a lot more activity. So the number last year for the same time was 581 versus the 387 that we saw this last week. So the homes that did sell, though, how did they do? They did pretty well. The average sale price was $591,000 approximately. For the same time period last year, the average sale price was $510,000 approximately, and that's about a 16% increase in the average sale price year over year. If we look back at how 2021 ended versus 2020, we ended it up at around 15.8% above the previous year. So that was a pretty big increase, and we're kind of staying in line with that right now. The next thing is supply and demand. The number of active listings has gone down again. This is a decrease in 16 of the last 17 weeks that we've been keeping track. And of course, throughout the fall and winter, that was pretty normal. We always see listings decreasing. But at this time of the year, I really was expecting the number of active listings to increase instead of continuing to decrease. So we were down 3.8% versus the previous week. In contrast to that, the number of pending deals, so the demand side of the equation, has been increasing. So the new pendings were up significantly, like 18%, 780 new deals went under contract versus the previous week. Again, 18% increase. And then the total number of pending deals was up 4.4% versus the previous week. And that's at 4,016. I really was expecting to see both the number of active listings increasing and the number of pending listings to be increasing at this time. So I was a little surprised to see active decreasing as pending increased. And that just says that the supply of new listings, and we didn't get a lot this last week, they're getting gobbled up by the demand and then some. When I look at the number of active listings this year versus last year, it's a little telling. The number of active listings that we saw, again, that 1576 number versus last year was significantly lower than what we saw for that same time period. The number is 2144, which is a 26% decrease in the supply of active listings for purchase. So that is fueling a bit of a frenzy and sort of leaning in towards that frenzy that we experienced the same time last year. When we weren't expecting it to be quite as pronounced as it is right now. The last thing that we want to talk about are the lockbox opens. So we did see an increase this last week versus the previous week. It was up 7.6% on the Oregon side. It was much more modest on the Washington side. It was up 0.5%. But keep in mind that Washington right now, north of the border, they have even fewer listings available for showings and purchase than we have on the Portland side. Their inventory in months is very, it's like record-setting low. So there really isn't anything to go show in Washington. So that's where we are right now. Of course, as I always say, all real estate is local. If you have any questions about what's going on in your specific city or neighborhood or zip code, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to share the numbers and do any research that you might need. So I will see you next week.